Hello YouTube, this is a full in-depth review of the Game Boy Color. As you can see, it's made by Nintendo, and it is a Game Boy. And it's in fact a Game Boy Color, and it looks a lot like a Game Boy Pocket here. Let me zoom out a little bit. The case on the bottom is a little bit different, and the screen is just slightly smaller. When you look at the top, you see like a communication there. If you put it up to another Game Boy, or if you had like one of the Pokemon games, those would communicate with what they'd call like a Pokemon Pikachu or whatever it's called. On the side there's a communication port that would link up to another Game Boy Color. Now, it will not link up to a Game Boy Pocket or a Game Boy, and the Game Boy and Game Boy Pocket hookup is actually different. And then this is a volume control. Now on a Game Boy Pocket, the communication port is in the same spot, and so is the volume control. But on this side, on Game Boy Color, the power switch is over here, where on a Game Boy Pocket or Game Boy, the switch is up here. And then also on a Game Boy Pocket or a Game Boy, there's a contrast adjustment for down here. And then where the Game Boy Color does not have any contrast adjustment. As a matter of fact, it's actually they completely did away with it. If you look on the back, there's the cartridge slot, and then here's where the serial number would be. This is Game Boy. It says Game Boy Color there. It's kind of the information and stuff. And then down here's the batteries. Now, on a Game Boy Color and another Game Boys, it uses two AA batteries. So it uses a lot less power than a regular. And another thing to note of, they put a number on the back for you to call if there's a problem or any questions. And at the bottom, you got a headphone, and then you got a input cord for a power, for like a AC adapter or car adapter, either one. They do make it both ways. It is very much so will fit in, or apologize, it will fit into a pocket. Turn it vertical, you actually see it better. If you notice, it has one speaker. It's mono. It does have a start and select button as basically a pad or a control pad. You don't have a control stick. It has a B button and an A button. There's the B and the A. It does have a light that says power, and as the battery goes down, it does dim. It gets dimmer. There is also a light you can actually connect into this port called a worm light. As a matter of fact, I do have one. Let me see if I can pull it out here, and I'll show you what a worm light looks like. They're pretty neat. This is actually a worm light, and like I said, it plugs into the slot there. As you can see, there's the end for it. But it's pretty unique. It actually looks almost like an LED when it lights up. And I can actually show you here. Now the game packs for Game Boy and Game Boy Color, a lot of the game packs look like this. This is mostly your Game Boy and then some Game Boy Color games, but they're all the same size, and they just fit in here, just like that basically. Just slide in and out, and then you just press down and it clicks into place. And then you hit your power button, and it comes on. And then you got your power light. And then it shows the screen and everything. And it's got pretty good sound for the most part. I mean, it's kind of like NES graphics. Maybe a little bit better. A little more color. I don't know if you can really see it there, but that's a Game Boy Color game. If you put plug a worm light onto it, then you get your worm light, and you get a light on there. There is a Game Boy with a light built in, it's a Game Boy Pocket. It's called a Game Boy Light. You can notice also the backside lights up, so it's actually pretty cool. The other kind of Game Boy Color game, pull it out here. Point out another one also. This is a Game Boy Color game, and there's a lot of these games that have a battery in them, if you notice, and it's pretty neat. What it is built-in rumble. I don't know if you can see there, but it's built-in rumble pack, and there's made a lot of games like that have that, but there are some. And they're pretty neat. It actually, you would think it really wouldn't work very well, but it does. It's pretty amazing. But they're a little bit different looking compared to a regular game. There's a difference. They are just slightly bigger, so they stick out a little bit. And I'll show you here. You notice they kind of stick out just a little bit taller than the Game Boy there. But nice thing is you can grab on the bottom there when you pull them out, and they just pull right out. So that makes it pretty easy to pull the games out. Let me see here. Find a good. Here we go. It's just Scooby-Doo Classic Creepy Creepers. This game, you notice that you can kind of see through it, and it's got a little bit of a lip on the top where this is indented, and this actually sticks out. Notice here it's indented, and on this one it sticks out. So if you can see there, but on these you can kind of see through them. You can kind of see the board there goes all the way across. Now this is it's kind of an 8-bit plus. It's not really a 16-bit, but it's a little bit higher than an 8-bit. But it is pretty much an 8-bit system. So it does have like Super Mario Brothers and games like that. It has Super Mario Brothers, what they call Deluxe, which is Super Mario Brothers, and then it's got some extra things. The other thing I'll point out is they actually make some different accessories like this. It's a frame type thing that goes on, and you can transform like one side of your Game Boy Color with a different color there. And these are cool because you can paint these frames and stuff. And notice this one's made by Interact, which is no longer in business. But it's a very unique system. Trying to think, I will say it's a little bit harder to press the start and select buttons when you got this on though, because they're not quite like the A and B. I don't know if you can see there, but they're a little bit harder. For the most part, there's a lot of accessories for it. It's a pretty nice game overall. Nice system, real portable. Well built, I will say. Pretty durable too. They feel like they're a good piece of equipment. I mean, when you're holding it, it's good and strong. It don't pop, it don't crack, you can grip it. It really don't make noise. Sounds pretty good. It looks good. Excellent, excellent design. I will say, I don't have a Sega Game Gear to match up with it, but I will do a review on a Sega Game Gear. But that's pretty much it for the Game Boy Color. And that pretty much concludes our review. Thank you.